Thank you for joining me for this video. Welcome to the Learn Guitar with Derek channel. Please drop a comment if this is something that is helpful as you go through this video, and would love to have you give this a sub and a thumbs up, all the things. This is a video that I have felt like I should maybe do some of these things from time to time, just the questions that I get as a guitar player, as someone who does guitar instruction and teaches lessons. This particular question comes up a lot, and it's usually my child is wanting to learn guitar, to take some lessons, and what should be that first guitar that they purchase? What would you recommend? And so with a question like that, I think of my first guitar and think of my first experiences, and knowing that that's just something that set me on a course of my entire life playing this instrument, that was a pretty important thing. That was a big deal. And so it should be a big deal for any of us that are thinking about getting into guitar and diving into further this instrument. And so I have some key things that I think I'll just kind of splice up and share with you. And as always, you can leave a comment, you can leave a question. If you have more feedback, I'd love to hear from you. But what are some things to consider as you're looking at purchasing your first guitar? Well, as you think about buying a guitar, probably the first thing that comes to mind is just asking, what is my budget? How much can I afford to put down for the first guitar that I purchase? And I'll say first guitar because you're probably going to want to buy more once you get into playing this instrument. A new guitar in the beginner price range, I would call it, is probably going to run anywhere from $100 to up to $300. Just safe estimate of what you may be spending in order to get into guitar. And if you're just wanting to check out guitar and figure out, is this for me? And of course, I'm just kind of talking about acoustics. If you're electric, it might be a little bit different. But for a person just wanting to get into acoustic guitar like this, you may want to find out if you can borrow one from somebody. Is there somebody, a friend, a neighbor, a family member who has a guitar that you can just play for a while? That's how I started. I had my grandpa's old Harmony guitar from probably the 1960s, 1970s, somewhere in there. It wasn't a great guitar, but it was something to just allow me to say, do I want to learn this? I'm learning some chords on it. I'm trying to figure it out. Do I even like this? Do I want to stick with it? So that's just kind of an easy way to sort of at least pick this instrument up and find out if you like it. If you're going beyond that and just want to purchase something, sometimes you can find used guitars. You can go on places like Facebook Marketplace. There's lots of guitars on there that are secondhand. Some stores and shops even have used guitars, and a section like in a store like Guitar Center would have a used section that you can pick up some guitars and probably have a reduced price tag. You can get something for a little bit cheaper than brand new, and still get that beginner sort of level guitar in that price range. You just want to find something that kind of gets you into it but doesn't break the bank. You're not looking at spending thousands of dollars. And honestly, if you find that you like this instrument, you're probably going to progress past that guitar pretty quickly, maybe within a year or so, because you're finding that, hey, I'm really enjoying this, I'd like to learn it, and I want to get something that's maybe a little bit beyond the initial price point that I started in, looking at sort of that intermediate level guitar. But for your basic entry into guitar playing, probably in that $100 to $300 price range is a safe estimate to have saved up. Okay, so if we're in that $100 to $300 price range, people are usually then asking, what sort of brand, what company of guitar would you recommend? What's a good guitar brand to play? And I usually go with some of the names that I've heard of that are reputable, that have put out guitars for years. Things like Yamaha, things like Fender and Epiphone, maybe even more lower budget but good entry level guitars like a brand by Mitchell. Things where sometimes you get the guitar and the gig bag and the strap, all the things that you need in order to just get started and start playing. You may have a guitar that has electronics, which means it has a pickup within the instrument. That way you can plug it in. It can go through an amp. It can be played through a PA system, like if you're playing live or at a church, something like that. But a lot of times if it's $50 to $100 cheaper, it doesn't come with that pickup. And the only way to amplify it is to either install one or to have it mic'd up somehow. And for a lot of beginners, that's not an issue because you're not looking at playing live yet. You're just looking to play in your living room, your bedroom, to just learn this instrument. So something to keep in consideration with that. And I guess for myself, I'll give a couple of personal recommendations. One guitar company that I think has been just putting out really great instruments, especially in recent years, is Yamaha. And this is a Yamaha acoustic guitar. This is actually my son's guitar, and if it's an FSX 700 SC. I'm not sure if Yamaha still makes this exact guitar, but it's one that was actually a secondhand found in the used clearance section at Guitar Center. And it was somewhere in that $200 to $300 price range. They may go up a little bit higher than that, but it's a very solid guitar. It's something that has held up well. It has good tone. It has a built-in tuner. It has a pickup. It has just some basic EQ. Probably even more than what you might need as a beginner, but it's a very solid guitar. And these kind of things from Yamaha, if you go into your local guitar store, good chance that they have some Yamaha guitars and you can test drive one and see how it plays. Another company, and I'm not getting any kickbacks, anything from anyone, but one company that I've played a few times, I don't personally own, but if I had to do it all over again, I probably would pick up one of their guitars, is a guitar company out of California, and they're called Orangewood. And everything I've seen from them on just their price points are from just kind of easy entry level on up to more advanced. They have some very wonderful guitars at that initial price point that we're talking about, and they're playable, they sound great, they have good tune, intonation, everything. And so Orangewood is one to check out, and I'll throw up a link in the description. And if those guys are watching by any chance, sure, I'd love to test drive one of your guitars myself and do a whole review on it. But anyway, besides the point, those are two that I would recommend. There's a lot of other great ones out there, but it just takes kind of going and trying a few out and seeing what you like. After we talk about the things to look for, the brands that I would recommend, there's also guitars that I would say to avoid and to just run from. And these would be what I call the Temu type guitar, or the $50 guitar that you may see on Amazon, $50 or less. And usually someone is just trying to start and they want to get their son or their daughter a guitar for Christmas or their birthday and then set up guitar lessons. And they're just kind of these really cheap plastic guitars that I would say are not worth looking at if you're serious about perhaps getting into this instrument. They are probably, like I said, about $50 or less. If you can kick in another $50 to $100, you're going to be in a much better price point for what's actually value for you as you play. The thing about these cheaper guitars is they're they don't stay in tune, so you're constantly having to mess with, and just to play something to get it to sound right, you've got to keep going back and tuning and retuning. The intonation of the guitar, the fretboard is usually out of whack. There's just a lot of issues there with the neck. And a lot of times they're just hard to play. They're hard to press down frets and to get the sound that you're looking for. So it makes it very frustrating if you're a beginner, because you're not even starting out on the right foot to learn the instrument. You have so many obstacles already within the guitar to get to a point where you start enjoying the instrument. So I would say stay away from those type of guitars. They've just really been things in my experience of seeing students bring these in and trying to learn the guitar. They usually don't last a long time on the instrument, because they get frustrated and they just don't have the interest to keep going with it. So try to avoid that purchase, mom or dad. Try to put a little bit more money aside. It'll be worth it in the long run. If I had $50 or less to spend, I'd probably just throw it on like a ukulele or something like that, because I know that's at least something that's cheap and I'm not looking for a whole lot from it. But try to go for a little bit more if you're looking for an actual 6-string guitar. So just some final thoughts on this topic, as I know I've kind of gone through this quickly and you may have some more questions. Feel free again to drop a comment. But as you progress with guitar, as you learn this instrument and you go deeper in it, getting beyond kind of that basic foundational stage into more intermediate and even advanced, you're probably going to find that you're ready to make a bigger commitment than what you initially spent and what you initially invested in. And so that's something to keep in mind, that as you start learning, you're going to want to put a little bit more money into something that's a little bit into that next price point. Maybe it's $500 to $800. Maybe it's even more than that. There's guitars that are thousands of dollars. But what is something that, as you think about that, you then go and play a lot of guitars, you kind of see what feels good, what sounds good, because then it really becomes something where it's more the individual choice of, I want to sound like this, I like the look of this, the resonance of this, whatever, as you go deeper and deeper. And so play a lot of guitars. Maybe you can test drive some things. Maybe you can even take some things home or borrow a friend's guitar. Maybe they've got a Taylor or a Martin or whatever. It's something that you can then have and really look into. These are investments. These are things that when I purchased my guitar that I decided to have for a really long time, I heard somebody say, this is making an investment. So it's an investment into your future as a player that will pay dividends, that will come back to you because you were willing to put the money aside and the time aside to learn it. So I hope this has been helpful for you. If you have a comment of what your first guitar was, I would love to hear what that was and put it in the comments. And any stories involving guitar purchases that you've had, I would love that feedback. Again, if this is helpful, let me know as well, and we'll see you on the next video.